Hello, my name's Jack Howard.
And I'm Mark Kermode.
We're here today at Cineworld, Leicester Square.
We're here to talk about the work of Denis Villeneuve to celebrate the release of Dune Part 2.
You will watch it in IMAX!
You all right?
Yeah, sorry, I've just got something stuck in my throat.
That was it. It was just like a little bit too much. Put your right hand in the box.
And what's in the box?
Popcorn.
I would have preferred sweet.
I remember, because I'm so much older than you.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like
very
106 and you're 12. I remember reading Dune when I was a kid and then going to see the David Lynch version of Dune and going, oh yeah, it is unfilmable. It's actually not possible to do it. Jodorowsky had attempted to do a version of it. There's a very good documentary about Jodorowsky's failed version. And he figured the only way you could do it is it has to be 14 hours long and star Salvador Dali. So that didn't happen.
I mean, I'd watch it.
Yes, if it existed, but it doesn't because you can't make it. And then the genius of Dune Part 1 is, oh no, you can do this story. Do that. But I did end the first film thinking, you've got a mountain to climb in Part 2 because thematically, Part 2 is where it really gets dense and rich and complicated and dark.
It's okay. I'm here. It's been a while since you've had one of those nightmares. Tell me, what was it about?
It's only fragments.
Denis Villeneuve's previous science fiction films, Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, are the thing that has made me so excited about this.
Massively.
Arrival is a film based on a very short story. It's a short story about an idea. And Denis Villeneuve's film shows you extraordinary spectacle, real science fiction spectacle, but never loses sight of the fact that at the heart of it is a very personal idea about the way in which we experience the world.
Arrival is not only a film that's a sci-fi that is really about kind of the human condition, but also it's a demonstration of a filmmaker who really understands film language. So the film presents itself to you a certain way and kind of lies to you so that you create an assumption about something. So when you're watching it, it reveals to you later that that assumption you made was wrong. And then the second time you watch it, because of the language that the film has taught you and also the language of the aliens reflecting that, you watch the film differently. And that sounds so complicated to explain.
And yet,
it's
in the
so
film,
simple.
it's really, that's right, it's got a really, really good through line.
And everybody like clicks with it.
Yeah.
And that moment, I remember in the cinema, like grabbing the person I was with and being like, oh, it's about this.
Yeah. But all great science fiction is about ideas, and it is a meld of ideas and spectacle that makes it so perfect for cinema.
You've been fighting the Harkonnens for decades.
Look!
My family's been fighting them for centuries.
Then, of course, after that, there's Blade Runner 2049, a sequel to one of the most revered science fiction films of the modern age. I did go into it with a sense of, please don't do anything that will destroy the original. And actually, of course, what Blade Runner 2049 does is it expands the original, and it seems like a perfect next chapter because, again, it's about ideas. It's not just about spectacle, but it's ideas married to spectacle.
I really love that Blade Runner 2049 is the story of someone who is told or starts to believe that he is special and then discovers that he isn't, but finds his place in the world anyway.
And also, it's a film that's having a conversation with the original Blade Runner. Because the original Blade Runner, there are umpteen different cuts, which are kind of in conversation with themselves anyway.
And somehow Blade Runner 2049 is a sequel to all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually kind of baffling how he's managed to do that.
I remember when Blade Runner 2049 came out, I did it on stage with Denis Villeneuve and Ridley Scott.
I was there.
You were there. And you'll remember that they got into a very heated argument.
Yeah, they couldn't agree on
anything.
Yes.
But the genius of it was to take such a huge canvas and a film which has so much spectacle in it.
Yeah.
And the two sort of central creative parts of that were still arguing about what it meant, even what the story actually was. And I thought that was great because it was like, yeah, that's it. All great science fiction should be about the beginning of a conversation. You know, yes, you're looking at it and it's visually spectacular, but your brain is never disengaged, and it was visually spectacular.
Absolutely beautiful. I think it's the first time that Denis Villeneuve used IMAX, and Roger Deakins shot it beautifully, won the Oscar for it. And when that scene opens in Vegas, just absolutely stunning. And I'm really glad that Denis Villeneuve has embraced IMAX more and more when it comes to Dune.
And Deakins have been nominated 107 times before
I believe
that.
it, yeah, 108.
Your blood comes from dukes and great houses. Here, we're equal. What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
One of the reasons that Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1 worked so well was it's like, oh, yes, you have found the language to tell this story. It is visually spectacular, but you've never lost sight of the central thread. Does it manage to hang on to the worm as well as it should do?
Great phrasing.
Thank you very much.
100% it does. There's a simplicity to the first Dune that I really, really like. And this one, having seen it, it's a tapestry. There's so much happening. And yet, Denis Villeneuve feels like he's got a handle on it the entire time. And I also need to give a special mention to Greg Fraser, his cinematographer, because wow. It's filmed for IMAX, so it completely fills the screen the entire time. It's not one of those films that jumps between aspect ratios.
Right, okay.
It fills your peripheral vision, but there's like an elegance to the way that he's filming even the action scenes. The scenery is just absolutely stunning, and you can tell that they've actually gone to these places and done it for real, and it just changes so much about the feeling of the film. Also, the sound in here, the seat was literally rumbling when the sandworms were coming out, when the battles were happening, but still, Denis Villeneuve gives room for the quieter, smaller, more intimate character moments. And it kind of speaks to what Denis Villeneuve is absolutely brilliant at, which is taking these huge, big, weird, sometimes wacky ideas.
Yep.
And I think he takes all of that stuff and makes it palatable.
The thing with Villeneuve is that he is both a visionary filmmaker and somebody who's very good at storytelling. You can have your breath taken away by something while your mind is still engaged. You know, people often talk about spectacular cinema as, check your brain out and just go,
yeah.
But with all of Villeneuve's science fiction, it's completely the opposite. It's like, yes, it is breathtaking to look at, but it's breathtaking because your brain is engaged. And I do think the thing that Villeneuve understands is bigger and smaller can coexist. It can be intimate and vast at the same time.
And that is exactly what Dune Part 2 does. And how he focuses. This one is a love story. Really, at the core of it.
I still think that the heart of the Dune story, it's about the way in which prophecy and predestination and all those things are inherently not to be trusted.
The ideas at the centre of it are about power and about faith and religion, and it's got a very clear idea of what that is about and where this might be heading.
I want you to know I will love you as long as I breathe.
Lose me as long as you stay who you are.
Consider what you're about to do, Paul Atreides.
Silence!
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
Thank you for watching.
Make sure you check out Dune Part 2 at Cineworld in IMAX.
It's a feast for your eyes and your ears.
Speaking of... Want some?
No!